Hi everyone, welcome to the video. Today in front of me I've got another JobLot of watches. This is the second video I've made about two JobLots I've recently acquired. The first was not as successful as I would have hoped, but once more in this particular video and within this batch there's a watch in particular that I'm interested in, so we'll see if we can get that one working. We don't know if they're working or not. The listing just said that untested, basically. It just said that the batteries were, all watches were working at one time, but obviously the batteries are not, no longer basically run out. So but it could be that they've been sitting for a while. Anything could happen really. The batteries could corrode and things like that. So we don't really know, but we'll give it a go and we'll see what we find. I think there was quite a few ladies watches in this particular one, but there was one in particular, but one or two that had caught my eye. We'll see what we find anyway, and we'll go through them together. Okay, so it's packaged really well. That's one thing I have to commend the seller for. She's gone all out. It was a lady actually that I bought it off. That's why this particular JobLot, I think, has got quite a few ladies watches in it, so I don't know whether that was a good idea for me to buy this lot. There's no vintage watches or anything like that. I have bought lots of vintage watches before, and I'm sure I'll make some videos about those watches, but in this particular one it's just mainly a few ladies watches and one or two watches that I was interested in. So I'm struggling with this box anyway, so let's see what we can do. I think I'll just pause the video and I'll come back to you guys. Well, that was a struggle. She certainly packed that box very well. I decided I'm going to put some gloves on anyway, because the last JobLot of watches I went through was awfully dirty, so let's hope for a little bit better this time in terms of the condition of the watches, at least. As you can see, there's a nice big bag in there and it's full of watches, so what we'll do is we'll get rid of the box to begin with, and then we'll lay that down there. And I think some of you may have seen the watch that I was interested in already, because it's quite visible. And once more, it's exactly the same watch that I was interested in within the first batch. So either way, this particular batch cost me, I think £22 again, all in with the shipping. So there's quite a few watches in there for that price. And when you work it out to price per watch, it's very, very cheap. But obviously, a lot of these watches may not be worth anything at all. We'll go for it. We'll see what we find. As I said, this one's probably going to have a lot more ladies watches in it, considering who I bought it from, and from the pictures in the listing I could tell anyway. But of course there was one particular watch, one or two, that I was interested in, and so we'll have a look anyway. Let's move it across here and then we'll pull out a watch. Okay, what do we have here? So first things first, we have a rotary. And that is actually tank style, obviously. Rotary Classics is what we've got written on the back. You can see here you've got a sort of gear shade dial, which is nice, but the condition of the watch is pretty beat up. It's just scratched all over. It's like the scratches have turned into brushing practically, but the dial itself is quite interesting with the Roman numerals and the tank style. It's definitely obviously mimicking the very famous watch that in this particular style, but that's a watch that I quite like. I don't really know if it's a lady's watch or not. It's quite big, and these tank watches tend to be small even in the male size, so yeah, I'm not sure, but given my small wrist, I think I could probably pull that one off. I think it is probably a unisex at least. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so this is just obviously a ladies or a young ladies watch anyway. I think that's, I'm not sure, maybe that's Hello Kitty, but I have no idea, to be honest. It doesn't actually say on the back, but it's got a little picture, the same picture, engraving. Cool, nice. Let's See, this one's quite big. We'll grab that one out of there. Okay, so this here is a chrono. Okay, so it's obviously one of those brands, just like a cheap quartz watch basically, but the design wise it's quite cool, I guess. The bezel works, which is nice to see. You've got a chronograph function, but on the back, as you can see here, it's missing the case back. At least the chronograph function is real. A lot of these cheap watches, you'll get like a fake chronograph function on them. This one's real at least, and it's got a cool bezel. It's red. It's nice colour, I guess. The action's actually not bad relative to watches of this price, obviously. Yeah, not that bad, but I'm not sure we can do much with that. Okay, what do we have here? This is a small ladies' watch again. And I think that says Reflex, not a brand I'm familiar with, but the quality doesn't look all that bad. You've got folded links on that, but they look like decent folded links. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that, to be honest. With these ladies' watches, I don't really know what to do. The plan, or my initial thought process, was that I would just throw them in a lot, basically. So all the ladies' watches that I acquire through these JobLots that I've bought recently probably would get thrown in a lot, unless there's one that one or two that I see that are really cool and deserve to be sold on their own. But I don't really know much about them, to be honest. This watch is really thick. Now, that's a bit confusing. I'm not sure why it's got such a thick case back. That's interesting. It's a Cora 17 joules. Okay, so it's an automatic or a manual. So that's why it's quite thick. It winds, but it's a two-hander, so I'll have to wind it later and see if it is actually working, because you won't tell for a few minutes. But that's nice to see an automatic in this batch. I was not expecting to see an automatic. I was expecting to see a bunch of cheap ladies' quartz watches, to be honest, and then one or two watches that had caught my eye. But fair enough. That's cool. This one's quite interesting in the shape and the blue. Obviously, I've got a real thing for blue watches, so this one has caught my eye straight away. It's obviously a lady's watch though, but it's just cool because it's got a faceted crystal, which is causing all sorts of light play unusually, but not in necessarily the best way. Just quartz. I can't really read that brand. That is really small on there. I'm gonna have to take it off camera just to have a look. So I've managed to read it, I think. I'll try and get it really close for you guys to have a look as well. I think that says Eden Time, so EDEN. Let's have a look at this strap. The strap is very soft, fabrics Spain. And what does that say? If any of you speak Spanish, you could let me know what that means. Vacuno Foro Antiallegero, I think. I'm not sure. I gave it my best shot in terms of pronunciation. Yeah, I like the blue. That's about it. Okay, so another ladies' watch, a larger one this time. And it is a Turner, or Terner. I'm not sure how you'd pronounce that. The strap is obviously past its sell-by date. I think that's still got the sticker on it, which is, wow, okay. So it was new at one point. It just looks like it has gone through its own entropy, sitting somewhere potentially, because had someone worn it, I'm sure that would have come off. Wow. So this is literally just sat and disintegrated of its own accord. Look at the state of that bracelet. On the watch itself, you can see it's got, well, an MOP dial. I don't know if that is really a mother of pearl. Ooh, so you've got some distortion on that crystal. So it's a domed crystal, single domed. Anyway, interesting. Nothing that I can do anything with, really. Another ladies' watch here. Oops, sorry for the camera shake. Constant. Yeah, not heard of it. Interesting oval design. Case shape. Fair enough. What have we got now? Another watch that's missing its case back. Potentially we could find that in there. And it's a Acrobos, I think. It really looks beat up and dirty. I'm so glad I wore gloves. Look at the state of that. But yeah, and nothing we can do with that. But I think that is a men's watch. And again, you've got the subdials, you've got a moon phase there too. The dial itself is quite nice with the grey and the polished, and I think they're applied, I'm not sure. Yeah, they probably applied, not pressed markers. They're nice, but the watch itself is pretty much unsalvageable. Okay, another lady's oval watch. It might just be a constant again. No, this is a Carvel quartz. Shockproof stainless steel back. Again, the state of these watches. I don't know what people are doing with their watches nowadays, but why do they keep them in this sort of condition? Just give it a wipe down every now and then. Oh gosh. But anyway, interesting nonetheless. Okay, so another lady's watch, but this one has actually got a bezel and it rotates. That is the smallest bezel I've ever seen, to be honest. Smallest rotating bezel. I keep shaking the camera, I do apologise. Yeah, Carvel again. That is the smallest rotating bezel I've ever seen. On a metal watch, maybe. May have seen something similar size on a kid's watch or something, but that is interesting. So that's a ladies' diver. I'm not sure. It doesn't say anything about water resistance, so it might be just a dive style. Yeah, it hasn't even got anything on the case back about water resistance. It's not even 30 meters, so I doubt you'd want to take that one anywhere near water, even if you're washing your hands. Okay, another one where the strap seems to be, well, it's not as bad as the last one, but it's in poor condition. Just a no brand quartz. You've got some sort of diamond like stones on the bezel. What's that say then? Art promotion distribution, or well, short for distribution. And then you've got by par Libvir. Okay, random. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. Obviously these watches appeal to someone. Just have a quick look. That's the case back for the Acrobos, as you can see. So that's nice to have that at the very least. Okay, so this is a big watch, but I think it's a lady's watch as well. It looks like it was rose gold at one point. These are going to need some cleaning. They're in real bad shape. Smith & Jones, okay. Quartz. Like the shape, the condition of these watches is really off-putting. Let's see. Another lady's watch with a diamond-like bezel and a totally destroyed strap. There's a theme here, Marks and Spencer's on this occasion. There is definitely a theme here with these watches. Again, I did buy it for just one or two watches that, like a movement holder. Really just one watch basically I bought it for, but there was more than one that I had an interest in, and well, some interest in it. Okay, what have we got here? Oh wow, this is another automatic, 17 joules. Laska? Or Loska? Or Tosca? No, I don't see Swiss made or anything like that. But it is an automatic, so that is a nice little find in this bag of watches. I'll keep it with the other automatic. well, not automatic, I should say manual. It's not, I doubt that's got an automatic rotor in there. It's a manual. Here's one of the watches that I saw and liked the look of, only basically because it's a Casio, but obviously you can see it's pretty beat up. Casio quartz. I've actually got a vintage silver one of these. I've had it since I was so young, and I love that watch. It has an illuminator on that one. I'm not sure this one will, but yeah, I'm not sure I could even get this back up and running, but we'll give it a go, because this is definitely one of the ones that I'd seen and thought, oh, okay, if I'm going to pay 22 quid, at least I'll get one or two things I am interested in. And this actually is another one of those. This is another Casio. This one's an actual edifice, and you can see here, I think those might be hollow, but at least not folded links, but I can't be sure. I'm wearing gloves as well, so it's hard to feel it out. But just the way it's rounded, sometimes you see links that are actually hollow like that, but they do feel solid, so I don't want to judge. So this Casio is in pretty beat up condition, but it is a Casio edifice, and it's 100-meter water resistance. It's missing the crown, so it's had some rough times. But that was another one that had caught my eye, but not the particular one that I was interested in for the whole JobLot of watches. So this is a Everite quartz, obviously. Neat looking watch with the Roman numerals on the bezel. Nice. That one's actually in decent condition, so that is a good thing. Okay, another ladies' watch, and this one is, wow. How do I always wonder how ladies can read the time on something like that. Like, whoa, is all I got to say to that. And wow, it's actually a manual wind. And once more, it winds. Normally, when you see these watches, they're fully wound, but it doesn't have a seconds hand. So again, we'll have to wait and see if it's actually running. But you've got a stretch band on it, and you've got some sort of tiny little pendant of some sort, which looks like a pendant of a older gentleman with a long staff. Okay, that might be some religious connotations to that. Let's see what we've got on the back. There might be something personal. St. Yes, so as I thought, you've got St. Christopher protect us. That's nice. That's got some, I'm sure it had some sentimental and religious value to someone at some time. Alright, yeah, here we go with, okay, so we've got another smartwatch here, and it's just pretty basic. I'm not sure how this one would charge though. That's a bit unusual, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, it's a basic smartwatch. Okay, so as I said, we've got a few automatics in there, and this one is a Slazenger, which is a brand mainly for tennis rackets and tennis balls that I'm familiar with them for, but I know I have seen Slazenger watches about, so they obviously make a few other products, and watches are one of them. It's a good brand. Okay, so let's have a look at what we've got next. Okay, we may as well have a look at the one again. The reason I bought this whole lot is this particular watch here. I've still got the sticker on the case back. That's unusual. Of course, it's the Casio W86. I'd actually bought the first lot for this very same watch as well. That one was working, but the main feature, the electroluminescence, wasn't. This one is obviously not working, but may work if I put a battery in it. So I have actually got a battery, so at the end of the video I'll put one in and we'll have a look together to see if it's working. But condition wise, if I clean it up, it's not that bad. It's always nice to see the screen. Well, actually, no. I take that back. From the front, it looks alright, but when you look at it in an angle, you can see it's quite scuffed up. But it's not the worst condition one I've ever seen. I really like these watches ever since they've been discontinued as well. I've been trying to get basically as many as I can. And some of the other JobLots that I'm getting, basically all of these JobLots really. This watch here, this W86, is going to be a running theme, because in every single one of them, I believe, so let's say 80% of the JobLots of the 5 or 6 that I purchased, this watch is part of them. So we'll have a look at it anyway, towards the end of the video, and we'll try and put a battery in. Let's see here. Okay, so another ladies' watch. This one says Gucci. Whether it is a Gucci or not is another question. It's missing its case back. Let's see if we can have a look at that movement. Is that a Swiss movement? It's really difficult to tell. It doesn't necessarily look like a Japanese quartz, so that may be a good sign. But the buckle is not signed, which is not a good sign, especially for something that's supposed to be a Gucci. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. Either way, it looks like it's had some corrosion. I think it's probably a fake Gucci, but nonetheless, interesting to see. This is another one of the ones that caught my eye. It's just because it's a interesting watch, because it's obviously one of those nurses' watches that they wear, and then you obviously wear it facing down, and they have it look up, just lift it up to see the time. And they usually wear it where you'd have on a men's shirt a shirt pocket. Constant quartz, just neat to see. This may well be the movement holder for that Gucci movement. Let's see what else we've got in here. Just another generic smartwatch. This one you can see where it charges. Yeah, just another generic smartwatch. And we'll have one more of those too, for good measure. Here, it's pretty beat up. It's missing its case back again as well. I think that is the case back, and yes, and I think this was a smartwatch too, by the looks of it. Yeah, to me that looks like it was a smartwatch. Yeah. Sunto. Either way, it's had its day. Let's see here, another diamond style, or diamantes I should say. This one is a Louis Frey. Wow, is that a Louis Frey? Now, some of you, again, sorry for the camera, some of you, let me just try and open up the... No, it's not a Louis Frey. You guys will be wondering why I'm talking about a Louis Frey, as if it's some sort of amazing watch. It's just a watch brand that my dad used to own when I was a kid. He had a watch from a brand called Louis Frey, and it was a tank style watch, and I've still got it, and it's missing its crystal, but it still works, and that's why I'm just very fond of them. This is not a Louis Frey. This is actually a Henley when I looked a bit closer. It's not missing any of its fake diamonds, so fair enough. A bit of love and care, might get that back to life. Okay, here we've got a scene. Yeah, the mess these watches are making is certainly a scene. Yeah, cool stretch band. I think that's gunmetal colour. Not seen one that colour before. That's quite interesting. And then we've got, I think that's the case back for that smartwatch. I'm really, really sorry for banging the camera so many times today. I think I'm just a bit too close to the camera today. I'll make some adjustments for another video that I make. This is another one that caught my eye just because it's a cool kid's watch. and it's a Snoopy watch, and everyone tends to love Snoopy watches. Although I don't actually own one, but obviously every brand seems to have a collab with Snoopy at some point. And it's just a cool looking watch. I don't know why it needs to be so big. Does that open? No, I don't think it does. I have no idea why it needs to be so big, because the movement inside is probably tiny. But yes, it's a big, looks like a lunchbox on the wrist, really. But let's see what that says there. Blue Sky, Snoopy and Charlie Brown, the Peanuts movie. Okay, so this is the Peanuts movie watch. Nice little kids watch. Again, I will try and open it, put a battery in it, and then I'll give it to my niece or nephew. Nice little cool watch. That's definitely one of the ones that had caught my eye. And that is your JobLot, guys. So, this one is not the best, I don't think. So we've got the 3 Casios. Those were the ones that I had noticed from the pictures. But unfortunately, the other 2 that I wasn't really that interested in, but was happy they were Casio, really, they just don't look in very good condition. This one might be, you could probably get that one back to life if you put a battery in, but it really depends on what we find when we open it up. This one is missing its crown, and I don't think the bag has got any parts. So, I think it's missing its crown, unless that's a button. Yeah, it's definitely missing something. We'll have to figure that out, but so for parts, yes, this may be useful for someone. Definitely will be useful, because I'm sure there's people out there who really like these Edifice watches. I'm one of them. That's why I'm sure, I guess. And then you've got this. So what we'll do now is we'll pause the video. Well, I'll pause filming, and I'll try and get a new battery in this, and then we'll have a look together and see what we find. Okay, back in a moment. Okay guys, you are not going to believe this. So I just went through the watches a little more. I cleaned up a couple of the watches and had a look at the others. And obviously I changed the battery on the Casio. And you are not going to believe this. This is the watch. And as you can see, it works. But then it has the same issue, the very same issue that the watch from the previous JobLot had. Now, I actually took the battery out of this watch and put it in this one. So this one doesn't have a battery now, but this was obviously the one from my previous video where I went through another JobLot and obviously picked this one out. It also worked in exactly the same way as this, in the sense that the watch works, all the functions work, but the light doesn't. Now, that's actually, even though you would think that's very disappointing, it's kind of given me a bit of hope. It makes me think that maybe the battery is the cause of this issue. Maybe it's not powerful enough to run the electroluminescence. So what I'm going to do now is get a new battery, obviously, and I'll try again. And I will do maybe a short 2-minute follow-up. And if I get these working, that'll be awesome. But obviously at the moment, it's disappointing because it's got the same issue that the watch from the previous JobLot had, but it does work. And it's a decent enough case. It's not that bad. So we'll see how we get on. Yeah, it was just a bit interesting to see that it's doing that. But that's that. Also, I had a little look at the other watches a bit more in detail. The automatics are actually, well, it's not the automatics, I keep calling them automatics, the manual winds, or the mechanical movements, I should say, they're all running. So all 3 of these are running. So that's quite cool. I picked out this watch because I quite like the look of it. It's in condition-wise, it's really good. I cleaned it up a bit. I'll clean it up a bit more, but it's just a nice, really, if I can get it to focus. Okay, so as you can see, I just like the look of it. I like the way those hands, the way they're designed. And yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. And I think I might try to sell that one on its own. The brand name is quite cool as well, Everite. So yeah, I like the look of that. So I think I'll give that a go on its own. I cleaned up these watches here. I took the straps off these watches here because they were the ones that were absolutely disastrous, and then I just cleaned up the watches a bit too. I've managed to salvage some parts, some keepers and things like that, so I can make use of those. These are the straps that are going to obviously go in the bin. That Gucci watch as well. I believe this watch is real, guys. Although I don't have the case back, which is really unfortunate. But I think this watch is real because that movement there, it's a jeweled movement. And a jeweled quartz movement, obviously. I just don't see a reason why a fake watch would have a jeweled quartz movement in it. I would just expect it to have like literally the run-of-the-mill Chinese movement or Japanese quartz movement, the really low of the low. So even though this watch is in really bad shape, I think it's a real Gucci. So maybe we could get, maybe that will, well, we'll see what we can do. I'm going to try and fix it up anyway, see what we can get out in terms of working. It doesn't have the case back. I'm going to check the box and the poly bag and everything just in case it's in there, but it doesn't. So, but it's quite cool to see that it's actually, I believe it might be a real watch. Yeah, and also the Casio, I had a closer look at this, and I don't think the crown is broken. I don't think the crown is meant to go in there. I think that's completely different. I think that might be a reset or something for the watch. So a battery in this, and this might be actually running, which would be really cool. So in terms of cost, I also picked out a bunch of watches that were in good condition. They're all ladies' watches, but I've kept them all together because I'll probably try and sell them as a lot. These ones are all in decent condition. Whether I try put batteries in them or sell them untested, more than likely untested. It's a lot of work to get batteries in all of these watches, and there's a bit of expenditure there as well. You could say between £1 and £3 per battery, unless they all take the same battery. You can buy a pack of 10 or something like that. Also, we got 3 smartwatches which will go into a JobLot with the other smartwatches from the previous lot, and maybe any others that I can't end up with. These ones I just cleaned up because they were in really bad condition, and I just wanted to have a look. Like this one here, I don't know if any of you guys know, but the corrosion on the watch, I tried to use some wipes to just get that off, but of course you can't. I think I'm going to do some research on just how to remove corrosion from it's obviously an alloy, metal alloy of some sort, because a lot of these watches, well, a couple of them anyway, had some corrosion on the case, like this Acrobos, for example. Also, I split the men's watch, so this watch here is not a smartwatch. It's a genuine watch. I found the case back for it. It's a Sunto, and it says it's designed in Finland and made in China. And it takes quite a large battery, so I'll be interested to see what it does. Maybe it is a smartwatch, but that just takes a battery. But I'll put a battery in there, see what happens. Because I'm interested to see what it does, basically. Yeah, so this is like the corrosion on the Acrobos. If I can get that cleaned up in any way, shape or form, I don't know if it's possible or not really. I feel like there should be some sort of acetone or chemical that I could use to just clean that up, but I don't know. But if I could, it's the dial is nice on this watch. It's a moon phase. It's a nice dial, and so that could go nicely in a lot, basically. So, and then obviously the last men's watch that I had separated was that one. Missing the case back on that as well, unfortunately. I checked the movement. It's an Epsom movement, so a Seiko movement essentially. It's an Epsom quartz chronograph movement, so that's quite nice to see. But that brand is nothing. It is a stainless steel case though. I don't think it's an alloy case. I think it's a genuine stainless steel case, but I haven't felt it in my hands. I've been wearing gloves all this time, so I don't know for sure. It just feels substantial in weight, but there are a lot of dive style watches, cheaper ones, that look like they're stainless steel with the polish and things, but then when you take the case back off and you have a look at it a bit closer, you kind of tell that it's an alloy. This may well be an alloy. I haven't looked at it too close. It's just the weight of it that made me feel like maybe it's steel, but nah, to be honest, looking at it, it's probably an alloy of some sort. Either way, it doesn't matter. These are the 3 men's watches as well, and then we've got obviously that kids watch there, and then obviously we've got the Casio. What I've done is I separated the watches that I'd keep separately, and if I can get them running, I'd probably try and sell them on their own. I've got this rotary tank, and I think that is like a really nice dial, the guilloche and things. I've obviously got this Casio edifice. I've got the other Casio as well, and I'll try and get that one running too. And then what I will do is I'll try and possibly, if I can get those 3 running, I'll probably try and maybe put them in a JobLot. Obviously with the Snoopy watch, which is probably the most fun watch out of the lot. That one, I'll get it working hopefully, and I'll give it to my niece or nephew. I think they'll enjoy it. It's just cool. And then obviously with these 2, so I'm going to get a couple of batteries, and I'll put them brand new batteries in both of these, and maybe it is the battery that just doesn't have the juice to power the electroluminescence and the module. But because I looked closely at both modules and they look absolutely fine. You can't see any sort of noticeable damage or any sort of indication of why the electroluminescence isn't working at all. So yeah, it is what it is. We'll give it a go, and if I do get them working, I'll definitely make a short 2-minute video just to show everyone, because I'll be really happy about that. So all in all, yeah, I think it's a pretty good lot. I think I may be able to get some money out of these. Good condition watches. I may be able to throw these 3 in a lot. I'll get a battery for that one anyway. I'll try and clean that Acrobos up. And I'll throw these in a lot with some other men's watches, and maybe get maybe £5 to £10, possibly, probably more likely 5 max if I have about maybe 6 or 7 watches in that lot. These obviously will go into the JobLot with those smartwatches, and then these ones I just clean them up and I'll just throw them in a lot. So all in all, I think there's an opportunity, definitely an opportunity here to get a really cool watch that I wanted, if the battery is the actual problem. Maybe fix up a couple of really nice Casios and a rotary, and then we've got 3 ladies or mechanical movement watches which run, which is cool. So I think I could easily get £10 for all 3 of those, maybe more. I'll do a bit of research just in case the brands are very old. Some of them, they don't look very old, to be honest. If you look at this one here, it says Tosca, and then it says 17 joules Inca Blanc, which indicates Inca Blanc. I've seen that on so many old school vintage mechanical movements like Swiss watches. So maybe that's quite old. But then this one here, which is also looks old, which is like an Osco Record, it's called, 17 joules, shockproof. But the back, I'm not sure. And it says stainless steel back. That's obviously because back in the day, in the like vintage watches, a lot of them were alloys as well, but much better quality alloys than they use on cheap quartz watches nowadays. And then finally we've got this, and believe it or not, all 3 of those watches are actually running. I tested them. The Acora 17 joules, and it says something quite interesting at the bottom. It says shock resistance fully lever, and I don't understand what that means, but it's interesting to see some random text on the bottom. The thickness of this watch makes it look like a bit of like a flying saucer. It's pretty interesting because it's got, the case back is going to sit on the wrist, but it's not flat at all. It's obviously beveled, and it's a big bevel, so that's going to sit higher on the wrist and just look interesting on a lady's wrist, I guess. So that as well. So then we've got 3 automatics. There's definitely a small amount of value there at least. So all in all, I might keep, I think if I was going to keep any watch, obviously the Casio that I bought it for, the lot for, and potentially this rotary here. The gold Casio, I would have wanted to keep it if it was in better condition, but it's losing a lot of its luster, really. So I doubt I'll keep that. I'll throw it in a lot with another bunch of Casios and better quality watches, basically. So yeah, I think I'll definitely go some way towards making the money back. If I can get the Casio working, the electroluminescence, I'll be very, very happy. So another sort of semi-success, I guess, with another JobLot. We've got a few more coming. I think these are the two biggest JobLots I bought. The rest were like £9 and maybe had 5 or 6 watches and things like that. I'll go through the reasoning why I bought each one. Obviously, again, for the first two, it was down to the W86 on each of them. Some of the others it's the same scenario. So I think by the end of this little experiment, I'll end up with in total 6 W86 watches. Whether they work or not, we'll find out. So that's pretty much it. It's a nice little video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Do come back and watch another video, especially when I put out another JobLot video if this kind of thing interests you. I tend to watch so many of these videos, but the videos I watch are guys who do this. They seem to do this kind of thing professionally. They're going to car boot sales and things like that every Sunday. They're a guy called Hazza Lamb Chops, I think his name is. He's really cool. There's another guy over in Canada, I think, called Vintage Sterling Finds. You guys can watch their check them out. They're really cool. And they just seem to do this kind of as a semi-professional or a profession of sorts. And they're not just looking at watches, they're looking at jewelry, other things, all vintage type, anything they can really get their hands on that's vintage. And they make some really cool videos. And they always find a lot of watches like this, but they also find quite a few gems in there, some really nice vintage pieces, basically. So I drew the inspiration for this idea to get a couple of JobLots from watching those videos. I really, really enjoy them. So anyway, if you guys enjoy something similar, please do come back. I'll have another JobLot maybe in the next couple of days. I believe there's one on its, well, there's definitely a few on their way, and when they get here, I'll make a little video about them. Again, on this particular video, I've had a few edits, a few interruptions, let's say, and a lot of shaky cam, and I'm really sorry about that. But again, slowly but surely, I am going to improve, and hopefully, you guys will stick with me until the videos get a little bit better. Thank you very much again for tuning in, and bye bye everyone.